What's up, everybody? Jack Var here on behalf of Box to Box Football. I'm here with James, and some people think the Ballon d'Or is prestigious. Some people think it's the best awards. Some people think it's the Premier League awards. But I'm here to tell you that it's the Box to Box Football Awards, and it's the Team of the Year. Now, to save some time and just to save kind of me and James like waxing poetically about 1, 2, 3, 4 of these players, because I'm sure James and I would have a little bit of an interesting chat about Trent Alexander-Arnold, but you guys should know at this point, you know what we think of Cancelo, De Bruyne, Heung-min Son, Mo Salah. These guys were always going to be absolute locks in this Premier League.
Cancelo's all right. I don't think everyone goes whoa about him. Easy. And Cancelo's all right. He's all right.
I like Cancelo, but apart from that, we're going to keep it to the conversations where it's a little interesting. Now, I've got mine already. I'm done. And I think James is going to have a little bit of, some conversations about who I may have picked and then maybe put forward his own choices. And then we can have a bit of a dialogue and just see how we do, right? You let us know in the comments who you think was right and also who your team of the year is. And also, while you're down there in the comments section, if you're not already, hit the subscribe button. Trying to get to 1,000, right? We're on our way. But James, without any further ado, let's get into this. Goalkeeper. In my opinion, this was actually a pretty easy shortlist. There are 2 contenders who you want to throw out there, and that's the 2 goalkeepers for the 2 best teams who have kind of the least to do, I think is fair to say, or at least that's my argument anyway. And that's Liverpool's goalkeeper in Alisson Becker, and then you've got Manchester City's goalkeeper, of course, Ederson Moraes. Now, just for me personally, I think the goalkeeper of the year is David De Gea. Manchester United had an abysmal season. Abysmal. One of the worst that we've ever seen, right? Couple of bright sparks still there. I think Bruno Fernandes ended, with either the first or second amount of chances created. I think Cristiano Ronaldo came in and proved that he still got it in the Premier League and scored, 18 goals, right? But the biggest bright spark, and I believe he won their Player of the Year, was David De Gea. Because, guys, listen to me. Without David De Gea in goal for Manchester United, I think Manchester United aren't making even the Europa League. They're probably not even making the Conference League. You're potentially looking at the bottom half of the table with how terrible the defense was, the amount of chances that they conceded to score. David De Gea is right back up there as one of the better goalkeepers in the world. He's definitely in the conversation in there in the top 5, top 3, in my opinion, and he's totally regained his form. I think everything that we can see around Manchester United at the moment, talking about Dean Henderson moving on, De Gea potentially signing a new deal, he's proven again that he's that guy. To me, in a really, really bad situation at Manchester United, as Manchester United number 1 this year, to me, David De Gea is the standout for me in the goalkeeper position. What do you reckon, James?
No, I'll put a lot of goalkeepers ahead of David De Gea, if I'm being truthfully honest. This is the one that Jack I'm going to stand on the most. I think De Gea has been good this year, but I refuse to put Manchester United. As much as I want to put I'm going to spoil alert, I want to put Ronaldo in the team. I can't put a Manchester United player in this team. De Gea has been all right this year, but he's also had a few mistakes where there's uncharacteristic, some blunders. I remember the game against Man City where he lets the ball just squeeze in between his near post. Personally, I'm going to go for Alisson Becker in this situation here. 20 clean sheets. I thought it came up big so many occasions for Liverpool. I'm going for Alisson Becker. We can't have a Manchester United player in this team, Jack.
I'm again, we go back to the same conversation that we talk about all the time, right? You talk about the defense in front, the midfield in front, the chances conceded, and what a goalkeeper has to do. I don't know what it was that Alisson did this year that made him that number 1 standout choice goalkeeper. James, I'd ask you, did you think that Ederson, who has a similar amount of clean sheets, would he have not been in the conversation for you?
No, I feel like Ederson's been good, but I feel like Alisson overall, he just comes up a lot bigger, makes a lot more saves. Like if I'm gonna go, I don't like bringing up stats all the time because people just use it to just kind of use and abuse. And you look at save wise, like Ederson is 20th, like save wise. I get Alisson is like 15th, but he's also made 70. He's also made how many saves? 76 saves this year. I get it. It's not as much as De Gea has made. De Gea hasn't made 50 more, but I just felt like it's not only about the saves you made, it's to me how commanding you are. I'm putting Alisson in there in my eyes.
I look at the saves as a really, really important part of the conversation. For me, you've got Leicester City, who were really, really poor this year, and Kasper Schmeichel's their goalkeeper. He's second with the amount of saves with 131. And Illan Meslier, Leeds just missed out on the drop in relegation. James, you've got teams that struggle who usually top the saves chart. That's why usually the most saves for the year are usually down there between 15th and 20th in the table. They usually got those goalkeepers because they're under the cosh. To have a football team that managed to finish sixth with the third most saves, only 3 behind Kasper Schmeichel in Manchester United and De Gea, that shows you the value. No. So again, I'm happy to concede this, but I do feel very, very strongly Alisson and Ederson were not that good this year. They were not required. They were not required to do what David De Gea was to do. I mean, if you stick De Gea in that Man City or that or that Liverpool team, I mean, you're looking at the same results, if not better, in my opinion. But we will put Alisson in there. Moving on to the centre-back position. James, I know who one of yours is, so let's get it out of the way. Why do you think Virgil van Dijk should be one of the centre-backs?
He's the best defender in the world, period. He's Virgil van Dijk. He's just Virgil van Dijk. What can I say? At times you can just, again, I don't think he's at the same level he was at 2 years ago, but I do think that he's still the best centre-back in the world. He's still playing at an incredibly high level. So to me, he's one that has to go in.
Who's your second centre-back who goes in? My
second centre-back there, I'm going for Antonio Rudiger. Again, I feel like Chelsea wasn't amazing.
So just quickly, I'm going to veto Van Dijk. Van Dijk is not going in the table. I'll give you Alisson, but Van Dijk's not going in. Matip is going in.
But Jack, how did you put Matip in there when like Konate got ahead of him coming to the end of the season?
Because Konate's the future of that whole thing, absolutely. But Joel Matip's had a better season than Virgil van Dijk. It's not even close. The conversation I want to have with you is Rudiger, my second pick, Thiago Silva. Who is your Chelsea guy? Why is it going to be Antonio Rudiger as opposed to Thiago Silva?
Personally, you could take your pick there, but I just look at what Antonio Rudiger has been able to do this year. He has had some phenomenal dominating performances against some of the best attackers in the world. He hasn't put a foot wrong many times. I get it, he's had 1 or 2 errors in the Champions League, but just overall this season, where like he went from a few seasons ago to now, in my eyes, not just being one of Chelsea's best defenders, but being one of the best defenders in Europe. Personally, I'll put him in there. Again, Chelsea fans would probably say Thiago performed a little bit better, but I feel like Thiago is one that
they're also probably a little bit salty that he's leaving, right? That probably plays into it too.
But to me, we're like this, is that Thiago needs to be protected a lot now because of the age. Don't get it twisted. As an overall centre-back, Thiago's better. But the age he's at, he needs to be protected, while Rudiger, to me, could just he can almost at times just play by himself for the average centre-back and still have a phenomenal performance. And secondly, Jack, he's also a goal threat. You see, he scored some big goals this year for Chelsea too.
I think he got 3, right?
5? I think he's on 5 or 6.
Did he have 5? If you double check that for me while I kind of go on Thiago Silva here. Antonio Rudiger's top end talent at this point of his career compared to Thiago Silva at this end of his career, of course, Antonio Rudiger wins that conversation. That's, again, that's probably quite an easy one. There's a reason why he's going to be signing for the Spanish and European champions. I mean, that's quite clear. To me, there's just little bits of erratic and unpredictable, inconsistent play sometimes throughout the course of a game from Antonio Rudiger that I look at to be potentially more problematic.
Also, Thiago and Antonio Rudiger both have 3 goals.
Both have 3. That was going to be part of my thing. Thiago Silva, I think, is steady Eddie in a really, really difficult year for Chelsea Football Club on and off the field. I think you've got to say that Thiago Silva was the more composed, more consistent option. They needed somebody like him at the back. I think that, if we equate somebody like Antonio Rudiger to like a Sergio Ramos type player, right? Ramos needs his Varane, right? Needs his kind of composed, level-headed player next to him. We know the top-end talent is better with Ramos, but we know that Varane, maybe you're going to get a little bit more consistency, a little bit less erratic. So to me, I would be certainly happier. And I think, the performances at his age as well are incredible from Thiago Silva. But James, I'll happily give you Antonio Rudiger there. That is not a problem at all. I'm going to make sure I get my umlaut in here. because I'm respecting the German language. So yeah, I'm gonna step on James's toes here. I've given him Alisson. I've given him Rudiger. Van Dijk is not making my team.
I would rather have Van Dijk over Rudiger. I'd rather give you Thiago Silva and then keep.
So you give me De Gea and Thiago Silva, and you get Van Dijk.
Jack. Okay, put Matip in there, but like that wasn't my choice to have Matip in there, guys. Just to let you know, VV like VVD's mine.
Joel Matip beats Virgil van Dijk in nearly every single statistical category going. Every single one going. Blocks, interceptions, tackles, even man of the match performances as well. More progressive passing, shot creating actions. The goal and assist contribution is level or better on both of those as well. Guys, Joel Matip is a very unassuming character on the football pitch, but actually if you watch him play, the guy's incredible. The guy's absolutely incredible. The reason why there wasn't much of a conversation going forward about who needed to partner Virgil van Dijk is because it never really was a problem. Joel Matip was signed as kind of, just to kind of cover over the bases of things, but actually turned out being a great option. Now, problematically, you've got Virgil van Dijk and Joel Matip, who are both, I believe, James, I want to say 30 and 31 respectively. I don't know if you can correct me on that. I think anyway, just double check. Ibrahima Konate came at a great price and will certainly be the future of that football club. And obviously we know what Virgil van Dijk can be and what his best can be. He's 30. But so far this season, in terms of actual performances, Joel Matip has been better than Virgil van Dijk. I'll give you a great example. I mean, I think it's 5 man of the match performances for Joel Matip. I believe Virgil van Dijk had 1. So in terms of kind of reliance and just being that outstanding player on the pitch game week to game week, Joel Matip has been unbelievable this year. Right, James, a little bit more of an interesting conversation here. We talked about this very, very briefly with the Declan Rice conversation. I think this was in our bad hot takes video that we did. Who for you has that holding midfield spot down? Is it Declan Rice? Is it going to be a Rodri, a Fabinho? Where are you going there?
You know what? By the looks of it, it's like a Man City, Liverpool, Excel.
Let's get into that now. Is that a problem for you?
I mean, like, Jack, we have to be honest. If a team performs that well, you just can't take it away from them. I remember as a kid, I used to collect stickers, and like they had the team of the season, and out of the 11, it was 8 Manchester United players and only 3 players outside of that, but they were the best team, and like majority of their players performed. It is what it is in that situation. When you perform to that highest level, you get these awards. Declan
also
Rice,
to say as well, to kind of back you up here, and just to say, yeah, we're not going to have Gabriel Jesus for the sake of it, Henderson for the sake of it, Naby Keita for the sake of it, anybody like that. Like, these are these standouts from these great teams. Like, to me, I don't think we're being biased to the 2 best teams here at all. Each of these guys on their individual talents, I think, deserve these spots, right?
Yeah. Listen, I have no doubt about it. Everyone has been named. There's a reason why they've been named because
right.
They've played at such a high level this year.
So James, holding midfield spot, who have you got?
Rodri been outstanding, but I'm gonna go for Declan Rice because I don't like to use stats. But when you look at all the midfield stats, Jack, he leads he leads in like every stat, and it's not like just like the most like basic ones like clearances and like short passes. Jack, he leads in like he carries the ball the most in the Premier League. Like, actually, like, right. from taking the ball from A to B, he actually leads. He actually leads the Premier League
with those long legs
in like distance covered, interceptions, breaking lines. Like, Declan Rice, I've been hearing this thing about Declan Rice and his extension as a midfielder. I actually got to see it this year, Jack, and from where he started from where he is right now, he has come on leaps and bounds. And to me, he has the ability to go on to be one of the best defensive midfielders in the world this year. He has been outstanding for West Ham. The fact that they were so close to making a Europa League final, we all know what happened there. I felt he's been just tremendous overall, not just in the Europa League, but in the Premier League overall. I know Rodri's been tremendous. Man City won the league, and I can understand, and I'll give it to you if you say Rodri there, but I would just go for Declan Rice.
I guess my question for you, James, would be that, if we're talking about Declan Rice at the base of a Manchester United midfield or the base of a Chelsea midfield, or, I mean, I'm trying to think if Liverpool or Man City could even do with maybe him. Maybe Liverpool, I don't know. But can he make that jump? to that next, most expensive teams, can pay the most money, prestigious
My biggest thing
teams.
for Declan Rice is that he needs to improve his game from like the point of view of his passing. Yeah, he carries the ball well, but like when you're at a team who, like, let's say plays in pockets and have players like a Kevin De Bruyne, or like for instance you have Chelsea with Mason Mount there, who have players who like to have the ball coming fast into their feet. That's where, to me, he needs to improve his game, being able to be a better regista, looking up, playing
Right.
playing the ball fast, being able to switch the play. If he can add that to his game, Jack, you're looking at a fantastic
Kind of
midfielder, and
unstoppable. Yeah.
easily one of the best in the world. And I won't say he's not going to be in N'Golo Kante, but he'll be in and around that mold, if I'm being honest, Jack.
So, Jane, my pick, and again, I don't feel super strongly about this because I feel like there are kind of three really good candidates and we've already touched on them. And yeah, guys, sorry, it's a Liverpool player, a Man City player, and then also Declan Rice. But I think Rodri's influence on this Man City team cannot go underestimated. You allow the likes of a Bernardo Silva, a Kevin De Bruyne, an Ilkay Gundogan, a Phil Foden, Mahrez, Grealish, Sterling, Jesus, you allow them to do what they want, what they can. Cancelo, even these guys going up from wing back, because you have the basis from somebody like Rodri. This is the modern day Sergio Busquets for Pep Guardiola in this Man City team. It really is. Doesn't quite operate in the same way. He's got kind of a different way about him. He's a little bit more of an enforcer, but he's very, very intelligent. Keeps things ticking over, nice and tidy. I'll be honest with you, James, it's one of these positions. He's not dramatic. He's not a destroyer. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't, if you're watching a game, he'll never jump out to you and go, wow, that guy's man of the match. Oh my goodness, did you see that play, that tackle, that this, that, right? So to me, I'm kind of more inclined to feel a little bit more like, and I'm happy to give you Declan Rice there. But I think we can agree right now, though, that as much as maybe Rice has had the better year, I think if you and me are playing in the park, we're probably taking Rodri over Rice, aren't we?
Oh yeah. Like, if I'm being honest, like as an overall player, like take away like this season overall, I'm going for Rodri. I do think Rodri's better overall, but Declan Rice to me has had a great year. But secondly, we all know Guardiola's Pep's love for Sergio Busquets. This is almost like a clone version of Sergio Busquets. He might not be on the ball, might not be as classy as Sergio Busquets is, but he does just as much as what Sergio did for Barcelona.
More square shoulders and a bit more of a presence from Rodri.
Also he has a bit more of a tan to him, So yeah.
James made a really, really good point there, guys, and we probably should have mentioned that at the beginning of the video. This is over the Premier League season, right? This does not mean that if we're picking a team for right now today who we want as our best 11, these are over performances that have already happened, right? There'll be names who won't be on this list who are better football players. But again, guys, shock horror, I don't think Paul Pogba's filling in this central midfield spot because we haven't seen the performances. The talent, talent and what you can potentially get out of somebody. We've already seen these performances from these guys and we're just going on that. James De Bruyne, no questions asked. That other midfield spot, I'll kind of start here and then you let me know what you think, who you've got. I'm going with Mason Mount. I'm not the biggest Mason Mount fan, James. I've got to be honest with you. I see like a kind of a neat and tidy, midfielder. I'm one of these people, I try as much as humanly possible not to get caught up in the, oh my God, he's English kind of conversation. It's why I had a little bit of my reservations on Smith Rowe, on Saka, on Foden, on Mount, on Maddison, all these kinds of guys. It's the reason why I took a little bit of a step back is purely because I don't want to just get sucked into, it's a technically gifted footballer who's English. What have they actually done on the pitch? James, I'd say double-digit goals and assists in a pretty difficult Chelsea team to be playing in when it's been a bit of a down year for N'Golo Kante, a little bit of a down year for Jorginho as well. We know the attacking options at Chelsea haven't been up to scratch. Mason Mount has been the main driver of this football team, and not the main reason why they've had a lot of success, but a really, really big reason as to why they've had a lot of success. You disagree with me there? Have you got another name in mind?
I got Bernardo Silva, Jack. I just think that this guy went from being this winger who comes in and plays in pockets to being an out and out number 8 now, who's a box to box guy, defending. Jack, some of Man City's biggest games this year away at Anfield, at home to Chelsea, he was man of the match in it, and it wasn't man of the match from the point of view if you look at the stats and it comes up. Bernardo Silva, don't look at stats.
No, I know he's not that kind of guy.
Watch and see what he's been able to do this year. You ask the Manchester City players who's been your player of the year. Of course, like Kevin De Bruyne, we know how quality he is. But second in that command to me was Bernardo Silva. Jack, if I'm being truthful, this is how high I'll rate Bernardo Silva. If I'm picking my Ballon d'Or top 10, he's in it. Jack, that's the level I believe this guy has performed to this year. He has been absolutely sensational. I personally would, I would give you Rodri just to have Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, I know you feel strongly about him, and I think he's great too. I really do. I think he's great. My questions that I would kind of start to bring up is, what does Mason Mount look like in that Manchester City team instead of Bernardo Silva? And then what does Bernardo Silva look like in that Chelsea team instead of Mason Mount? What do you make of that?
I feel like they're two completely different players. Personally, I do believe Bernardo Silva is the better player overall, and he goes into both teams and makes each team better. Don't get it. Not saying Mason Mount couldn't make Man City better, but the role, it's hard. It would be a lot harder for Mason Mount to go into a Manchester City team and like affect it the way Bernardo Silva has, compared to Bernardo Silva going into the Chelsea team and like affecting it. Personally, I would give you a lot of guys. Bernardo Silva is the one that I'll like. If you want, you can even take Antonio Rudiger off and like have whoever you want there. Bernardo Silva was the one I was willing to die on the hill for.
Well, we've got a few names. We've got a few names left here. So I've given you Rice. I've given you Silva. I might leverage that for my striker, or maybe I'll move another position around once we know who your striker pick might be. James, no conversation needed here. Heung-min Son, Mo Salah.
Yeah. That's it.
Moving on to the striker position. So for me, again, a down year for Premier League strikers. Real shame, actually. Again, we talked briefly earlier in the video, James, about Cristiano Ronaldo back in the frame of things. He has my goodness, he has a child die. He's in a bad situation with Ralf Rangnick and the situation that Manchester United are in. But again, I believe, James, correct me where I'm wrong, they've not won a game without him yet. This year, I think, something like that. Every game they've won, he's had to be on the pitch for. So that tells you everything about Cristiano Ronaldo and his value to the team. A down year for Lukaku. Firmino, again, it wasn't a consistent starter for each of the games. Werner, Gabriel Jesus was kind of good, but again, it's coming to the end there a little bit as well. Kind of looking further down the table, Calvert-Lewin looked great, but then there was kind of an injury in there as well. Raul Jimenez is back after an injury, so again, I'm kind of trying to go down the list here.
Jamie Vardy had 15 goals this year, and I didn't even know that he actually played this year. This is incredible on Jamie Vardy's side. Absolutely incredible on like his side.
Yeah, so another great example, Jamie Vardy, 15 goals, but again, Leicester really weren't too much of a threat across the board, so he didn't get a lot of notoriety. So, James, to me, in a pretty down year, generally speaking, I'm going for Harry Kane. The goal output was really good still. The assist output was really good still. The Son-Kane partnership, of course, Kane is helped by Son, but, again, Son is helped by Kane a hell of a lot as well in terms of link-up play and stuff. This isn't me saying Kane jumped off the page and was amazing, top assist scorer, top goal scorer like Salah's done. As the sun starts beating down on my face. How pale am I, everybody? But like to me, I'm trying to pick the best of a pretty bad bunch. James, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, listen, this is awful when it comes to when I'm picking the point of view of a number 9 in the Premier League. Literally, Harry Kane is the only guy that you can really associate being the top number 9. Don't get it twisted. Vardy to me is great, but he's had so many injuries this year. Antonio hasn't really scored that many. Ivan Toney's came in and has been good. Calvert-Lewin hasn't kicked on. Timu Puki's had moments here.
I thought about Tony. I did.
To be fair, I felt like if this guy would have stayed fit for the majority of the season, which was Callum Wilson, I felt like he probably could have definitely had a big mention in there. Harry Kane's the easiest pick, but Jack, you must understand the way teams play right now, they don't have a out and out striker. And personally, if I'm going to pick the number 9, I'm going to go for Sadio Mane, Jack. 16 goals in the Premier League this season, has played as a number 9 for Liverpool the whole season. Personally and overall, I think Sadio Mane has outperformed Harry Kane, if I'm being truthfully honest. Yes, Harry Kane has majority of goals, whatever, but like when you have goals being shared across the front three and how flexible Sadio Mane can be to this Liverpool team. You know, sometimes playing in as a left winger or playing in as a striker. Personally, I'm going for him as my number 9.
Yeah, look, I can totally understand where you're coming from on that one. I mean, what I would say to you is obviously from the striker position, what are you being looked at? You're being looked at goals, you're being looked at assists, and I know you mentioned that it's shared. It's not only shared across kind of the front three that start. There's actually 2 guys on the bench who can come in and give you goals and give you assists. So that's always going to take it away from somebody like Sadio Mane as well. But to me, apart from Dejan Kulusevski, who's obviously just come in and really kind of torn it up, really, to be honest with you, Kane has to be the main provider. He has more goals than Mane. Sure, it's only by 1, and then he's got a hell of a lot more in terms of assists and build-up play from that standpoint. Again, Liverpool, the criticism I'll always have of Liverpool players on the most part is it is the Klopp system, it is the players around you. I don't think Mane stood out to me enough to justify that striker spot. So
he's probably going to be top 10 in the Ballon d'Or voting.
He may well be. I'm sure he will. But I would say the African Cup of Nations will probably help with that. Making it to a Champions League, their domestic cup success, these are all things that unfortunately, Harry Kane can't defend for Spurs. Harry Kane can't play midfield for Spurs, so it's what he has to do. So
he can definitely play striker, and he's failed to score in how many finals? But sorry, carry on, Jack, carry on.
Well, no, carry on. Well, what's been the biggest, I tweeted about this as well. Liverpool have been in like 3 finals this year. They didn't score a single goal. I didn't hear anything about Sadio Mane not scoring a goal. So I'm just saying, there's some finals missed for Mane.
Just remember this: when Kane is in a final, it doesn't usually go well.
I know, but to me, I'm gonna stick with Kane there. So guys, listen. Box to box football, James and I, as much as we agree on a hell of a lot of stuff, there have been a couple of disagreements here across the board. I think our main agreements, Trent Alexander-Arnold, again, that to me is not the most sturdy foundation that we're living on there, but I think you've got to give it to Trent this year. If Reece James was fit all year, I'm just saying, João Cancelo at left back, even João Cancelo, James, I mean, if Ben Chilwell's fit all year, we're looking
but Jack, even like Cucurella for Brighton this year, who's had
Marc Cucurella's been great.
So I don't, do you know what it is? Because I didn't want to long out the video, I just said, okay, he can have that. It wasn't what I was going to dispute that much, but...
Do you have any names from the ones that we already had set in? Are there any kind of standouts just to kind of name drop somebody who you put in the conversation? So Cucurella, right?
Cucurella, I feel like we have to kind of look down the table more and kind of give a lot of credence. I'm going to give a few of the Newcastle guys. Who am I trying to say? I really do like what Callum Wilson was able to do when he came back and when he was fit. To be fair, I mentioned Ivan Toney. I felt like what he's been able to do in the Premier League this year. Another one, Christian Eriksen. Jack, since he's came in, superb.
Norgard as well for Brentford. Norgard's been brilliant for a team that that nobody was really expecting much from. Christian Norgard has been absolutely unbelievable.
And another one that we have failed to mention yet, Conor Gallagher. There are so many players that
Livramento, Southampton.
Bukayo Saka for Arsenal. I think 10 goals, and I'm not sure how many assists he has, but it's also quite high too. So. Just as an aside, Nottingham Forest promoted to the Premier League. And Jack, another one, Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen as well, worth a shout.
The problem for poor old Jared Bowen is he's competing with Mo Salah and Heung-min Son, so that's going to be a difficult one for him to crack.
I was thinking of putting him as a striker, but then I realized Antonio is there, so I'll be really clutching the straws to do that.
Right.
Last thing, manager.
Yes, true. Good point. James, manager of the year. Go for it. Who have we got?
Pep. I got Pep. 93 points. I see a lot of people picking Klopp. Klopp's been great this year, but he won the league. 93 points. Sensational this year. Led the Premier League from almost start to finish. So yeah.
I don't blame you that. I think my contenders, I've got like 3 or 4. I've got Ralph Rangnick as no, I'm kidding. To me, I've got Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, And Thomas Frank, James. Thomas Frank needs to have some credit for what he's been able to do at Brentford. Again, he's never going to win it, which is such a shame. But in terms of what was expected of him and what he's done, he has outperformed Pep and Klopp. There's no question about that. But again, there's not really much you can go up from when you're first or second. So again, it's kind of a little bit easier for Thomas Frank to outperform than for Pep and for Jurgen Klopp. So that needs to be taken into account. James, for me, Jurgen Klopp was manager of the year, but, and there's a big but because it changes my mind completely, Pep's team won last year. Guys, I think it's really, really difficult to get across how difficult it is winning a competition back to back. Now, that's a cup competition or a league competition. We're dealing with the two biggest psychopaths in terms of football management that we've really ever seen. These are first guys in, last guys to leave.
Wait. And Klopp was the manager of the year in the whole of Europe?
I don't know. Was he? Is that an award?
No. I'm just no.
Oh.
In your opinion?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, what about Carlo? My man, Carlo.
Yeah, Carlo's been great. Carlo's been great too. But again, it's a down year in La Liga across the board, apart from Real Madrid. The Champions League, ridiculous. Carlo Ancelotti, if we're talking just Champions League, I think we have to give it to Carlo Ancelotti. That's outrageous, especially with the path. But no, for me, it would have been Jurgen Klopp. But again, what did Pep have to deal with from last year? He had to deal with the champions. Winning competitions back-to-back does not happen. The reason why we talk about Zinedine Zidane and that Real Madrid team winning the Champions League back-to-back-to-back is because it's borderline impossible. It's not something that you can do. Getting a team re-energized to go again and working off that positive emotion is really, really hard. It's easy to bring back a team who, they really need to kind of buck themselves up and really get cracking. It's impossible to do it when a team is already on top. And that comes from the motivation that you get from your manager. Pep, unbelievable achievement. He should have come first and he delivered. So fair play to him in terms of manager of the year. But I just think Jurgen Klopp, with what he has to work with, again, was better. But Pep, again, getting a team to go again cannot be underrated. Thomas Frank deserves some credit. James, a lot of comments as well about Eddie Howe and what he did at Newcastle. Just for me personally, if you're not in it for the whole year, I do find it quite difficult to give out these awards. Kulusevski, Luis Diaz, Eddie Howe, these kinds of guys. It's tricky to give these guys credit when they've not been there from preseason,
Yeah, but guys, this team, me and Jack has kind of disagreed a lot. But who do you guys have, right? Is there anyone that you disagree with there? Should we have Virgil van Dijk in? Of course we should, but you guys got to take that up with Jack there. Harry Kane, should he be in? I don't think so, guys. Let us know there. Please comment down below. This is Box to Box Football, and we will see you guys next time. Oh, I disappeared.